This is AndyTube, and I have a video I think might be really interesting to you this time on the Singer Model 513, but this would cover many Singer models because I have a loose horizontal arm shaft. I noticed when I was doing the video and cleaning for the worm gear on the arm shaft down where it meshes with the cam stack gear that I had play, and meaning, maybe you can hear that. So sometimes this gears are not proper, and there's a procedure to go in on the front of the machine there and loosen a set screw that locks in the cam stack and rotating it to the right till you get a good mesh that does not bind and so forth. But the gears look meshed very well, so I started looking at it this evening, and I noticed, let me zoom in a little bit here, that there's Nplay, meaning at the end. Watch this end of the shaft. Now it goes through a bushing here, and on the end of it is the needle bar crank. I guess I should show you that in case you don't know what a needle bar crank is. That's the needle bar crank. See, and that's the end of the shaft right in the middle of it there. And this is fastened to the arm shaft. So anyway, when I started looking closer at it, I saw scratches in the screws on here, and that is just odd to see that somebody's been messing with those screws. But anyway, watch that. There you go. You see, and if I pull on the needle bar crank and push it back and forth, so too weird, huh? So you definitely don't want that. You don't want everything so tight that it binds, because you just lose all your power and you can't sew well. But you definitely don't want Nplay on shafts. You know, when gears are real loose, I think it's called backlash. If they're too tight, it's binding. But this is called Nplay. So, you know, the whole hand wheel is moving down there, and the cam stack, the needle bar crank, which holds the linkage that ends up on the needle bar, so everything can just kind of be bad. Now fortunately, this is a very easy fix. It's just something I've seen so rare, I can't even remember the last time I saw this. But anyway, on this collar right here, there's 2 set screws, and there is not a flat spot on the arm shaft. So that's one of the reasons that they have 2 set screws. So what I'm going to do is go in and loosen both of those set screws a little bit. And just rotate it towards me and loosen the other one. And there we go. And then to remove this Nplay, what you do is let me back out a little bit now. You push and hold the needle bar crank up into the body of the machine, the housing, and while you're doing that, you push this collar towards the bushing and the needle bar crank. I don't think I got it loose enough here. I should be able to slide that down to the end. Now that one's loose. Let's see what's the deal with this here. There we go. See how far I've slid it away? You see how that's loose now? Yeah. So I will push and hold the needle bar crank right there, and I will push and hold that collar up against that bushing. And now the interesting part of this is if you get it too tight, you can bind it here. But the service manuals always say push this in firmly and hold it firmly while you push this collar firmly this way and tighten it. So let's just go ahead and do that. Between my fingers and thumb, I'll hold that thing together, and I'm just going to tighten one screw pretty good there. And then, see, yeah, look at that. Make sure there we go. And then you want to turn to see if it's binding. As it goes around, you turn the hand wheel toward you. Does it get to a spot where it kind of hesitates? And this one does, right about there. And my needle bar crank is bottomed out. Excuse me. It's bottomed out over here, and that's usually where it's going to bind on the upswing as it's trying to swing back up. So let me go back to that, and I'm going to loosen that a little bit, and I'm going to just see if I can just back that bearing. Like, I'm going to hold the needle bar crank firm, but I'm not going to push so hard on this collar. I'll just get it up against the metal washer there and kind of hold it in place, not squeeze it so hard. And sometimes you have to fool around with this. Okay, let's try this again now. Okay, now my needle bar. Yeah, see, I wish you could feel through YouTube. But before, whenever the needle bar crank was bottoming out and trying to come back up, it would hesitate right at that bottom. It would kind of drag and bind in there a little bit. And this looks pretty good. So, and look, there's no Nplay. There's no more back and forth movement. Now, to do the when you have two of those set screws, I tightened that first one pretty darn good, and I'm going to just tighten the second one a little bit, not crank down on it, and I'm going to go back and loosen the first one a little bit, because really the tolerances are so close this shouldn't happen. But I've had it happen where if I've tightened one of the set screws really tight and then tighten the second one, it's just off a little bit. It's not true centered. The collar's not true centered. So I loosen this, my first one, and then tighten it back up. I'm going to go back to the second one and give it a little bit more. Give that first one a little bit more. So I guess it's, you know, it's kind of like putting a wheel on your car. You've got 5, 6, 7, 8 lug nuts to put on. You don't tighten the first one down forever hard. You go around and you do it more balanced. So it's the same kind of thing, just trying to tighten these evenly. Go back to the first one, and I think I've got them pretty good, so I'm going to crank down on this one pretty good there, and then go to the second one. So that explained to me why I was seeing scratches. Somebody worked on this before, and who knows why, you know. Who knows why? I mean, it's 40-50-year-old machine. So now I'm just turning the hand wheel towards me and rotating everything and making sure it still does not bind up any place as it goes around. And when I go to put the needle bar linkage in the front, it may cause some binding. Maybe that's why somebody tried to back this off. So when I go to put the thread take up system back in and the needle bar connecting stud and needle bar, I'm really going to be watching for binding. But as of now, I've eliminated completely the Nplay in the horizontal, vertical arm shaft. For the heck of it, I think I'll just plug that in and run it a little bit. Yeah, I don't notice any hesitation on that, so I think that's good. So there's one you may not have seen or heard about before, huh? It's an AndyTube exclusive. Hey. Okay, I hope that was interesting to you. I want to thank you for watching, and I hope you'll come back and see me in the future. Take care.